The jungle reclaims what was once grand. Vines creep through shattered windows, and trees push their way through crumbled walls. Nature whispers secrets where laughter and life once echoed. These are the abandoned places, the forgotten corners of history, where the past lingers in the shadows. From Europe's oldest town to an ancient underground city to the city buried in time by volcanic ash, each find on our list promises to leave you amazed. So buckle up and get ready to see the 12 most unusual abandoned ancient places that really exist, because the #1 spot on our countdown promises to blow your mind. Number 12. Mountain of the Gods on Earth. Angkor Wat, in Cambodia's northern province of Siem Reap, is one of the world's most spectacular archaeological monuments. The Khmer Empire first built it in the 12th century AD as a Hindu temple devoted to the deity Vishnu, but it ultimately became a Buddhist temple complex. Angkor Wat is the world's biggest religious monument, comprising more than a square mile in total. It was built during King Suryavarman II's reign and served as the Khmer Empire's capital city. It was created to symbolize Mount Meru, the abode of the gods in Hindu mythology. The building of Angkor Wat was an architectural marvel, with elaborate bas-reliefs and sandstone blocks carried from quarries over 30 miles away. Angkor Wat is well known for its symmetrical architecture and towers that reach heights of 213 feet. A moat surrounds the temple, reflecting the ocean that surrounds Mount Meru. Its walls are covered with elaborate carvings representing scenes from Hindu epics, historical events, and everyday life in the Khmer Empire. Following the collapse of the Khmer Empire in the 15th century, Angkor Wat was progressively abandoned and deteriorated. However, it was never fully forgotten, and it continues to be an important holy place for Cambodian Buddhists. In the 19th century, French explorers found Angkor Wat, reigniting interest in its preservation and repair. Today, Angkor Wat is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and an emblem of Cambodia's national identity. It receives millions of tourists each year, making it one of the most popular tourist sites in Southeast Asia. Despite the throng, Angkor Wat's sheer immensity provides tourists with periods of seclusion and reflection, especially at dawn and sunset when the temple is drenched in golden light. Angkor Wat confronts a number of issues, including erosion, plant encroachment, and tourism-related consequences. Conservation initiatives sponsored by groups such as the Apsara Authority and the World Monuments Fund seek to protect the site for future generations while balancing the requirements of tourists and local populations. Number 11. Emperor's Playground or Sacred Sanctuary. Machu Picchu, sometimes known as the Lost City of the Incas, is a spectacular historic fortress located high in Peru's Andes Mountains. It is one of the world's most famous and intriguing archaeological sites, with millions of tourists each year. Machu Picchu, located at a height of roughly 2 miles above sea level, was built by the Inca civilization in the mid-15th century, during Emperor Pachacuti's reign. The site was most likely utilized as a royal manor or religious sanctuary, although historians and archaeologists disagree on its actual function. The citadel is made up of around 200 stone structures, including temples, palaces, residential buildings, and agricultural terraces, all painstakingly constructed without the use of mortar. The building stands out for its polished, dry stone walls, precisely cut stones, and cutting-edge technical approaches like the incorporation of drainage systems to handle rainfall. The Intihuatana, a ceremonial stone also known as the hitching post of the sun, is one of Machu Picchu's most recognizable features. It is thought to have operated as an astronomical observatory or calendar, tracking the motions of the sun during solstices and equinoxes. Despite its splendor, Machu Picchu was inhabited for just a brief time, perhaps less than a century. The site was abandoned at the time of the Spanish conquest of Peru in the 16th century, probably owing to the spread of illnesses introduced by European invaders or other circumstances such as political upheaval or environmental changes. For decades, Machu Picchu was concealed from the outside world, surrounded by dense jungle and known only to local indigenous populations. It wasn't until 1911 that the American explorer Hiram Bingham found the location with the assistance of local farmers. Bingham's explorations drew worldwide attention to Machu Picchu, stimulating curiosity about its history, archaeology, and preservation. Machu Picchu is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the new 7 wonders of the world. It is a lasting icon of the Inca civilization's creativity and cultural accomplishments, drawing people from all over the world who come to admire its beauty, investigate its riddles, and reflect on its importance in human history. Number 10. A wonder carved in time. Petra, often known as the Rose City because of the hue of the stone from which it was cut, is an ancient city in Jordan's southwestern desert. It was founded as the capital of the Nabatean kingdom in the 4th century BC and grew into a significant commercial center because of its strategic placement along historic trade routes. The most recognizable aspect of Petra is its spectacular architecture, which is carved straight into the red sandstone cliffs. The treasury, also known as Al-Khazne, is the most notable of these monuments and serves as the city's entryway. The treasury, carved into the rock face, is embellished with ornate facades and columns, making for a stunning spectacle when tourists emerge from the tiny canyon known as the Sikh. Beyond the treasury, Petra is home to a plethora of other magnificent monuments, such as the Roman theatre, the monastery, Ad Dir, and the royal tombs, all of which demonstrate the ancient Nabateans' ability and ingenuity. The city's water management system, which includes dams, cisterns, and canals, also demonstrates the creativity of its residents. Despite its wealth, Petra started to deteriorate in the 3rd century AD as trade routes changed and other towns grew. Only the nearby Bedouin tribes were aware of its location by the 7th century, by which time it had largely fallen into obscurity and neglect. Up until Johann Ludwig Burckhardt of Switzerland discovered Petra in 1812, it lay hidden. Since then, it has piqued the interest of both tourists and academics, attracting people from all over the globe to marvel at its ancient beauty and discover its hidden riches. Today, Petra is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Jordan's most popular tourist destinations. Despite the fact that its ancient people abandoned it, it remains one of the world's most amazing archaeological monuments, inspiring astonishment and curiosity. Number 9. Frozen in Time. A city buried by ash reveals life in ancient Rome. Pompei is one of the world's most intriguing archaeological sites, providing an unmatched view of life in the ancient Roman Empire. Pompei, located near modern-day Naples, Italy, was a flourishing city until Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, burying it beneath a thick layer of volcanic ash and pumice. Pompei was a flourishing Roman city with a population of around 20,000 people when the eruption occurred. The explosion struck abruptly, leaving the residents unprepared. The city was rapidly smothered in volcanic rubble, leaving it in an astonishing condition of preservation for almost 2 millennia. Pompei excavations started in the 18th century and have continued irregularly since then, revealing an incredible variety of artifacts, houses, and even human remains frozen in time. The city's streets, buildings, and even graffiti on the walls provide fascinating details about Roman everyday life, architecture, art, and culture. Pompei offers visitors the opportunity to explore the impressively preserved remains of homes, temples, public baths, theaters, and even a gladiatorial arena. The Forum is the city's most recognizable monument, a lively civic center surrounded by temples, government offices, and businesses. One of the most poignant parts of Pompei are the plaster casts of victims discovered around the ruins. These castings were created by pouring plaster into the holes left by decaying corpses, resulting in uncanny and realistic figures frozen in the dying moments of pain. Despite its terrible past, Pompeii is a tribute to the strength of the human spirit and the continuing power of archaeological discovery. Today, it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Italy's most popular tourist destinations, attracting millions of tourists each year who come to admire its eerie beauty and learn about its fascinating history. Number 8. From jungle to archaeological ancient wonder. Tikal was one of the greatest and most powerful Mayan towns, peaking between 200 and 900 AD. It was the Maya civilization's political, economic, and religious hub, with a population believed to be in the tens of thousands at its peak. The Metropolis comprises more than 6 square miles, with hundreds of buildings distributed across the bush. Tikal's history began approximately 800 BC, when the first Maya inhabitants arrived in the area. Tikal developed into a prominent city-state throughout the ages, participating in commerce, fighting, and diplomacy with other Mayan towns. It peaked during the late Classic period, which was 600 to 900 AD, when it controlled most of the southern Maya lowlands. Towering pyramids, palaces, ball courts, and temples are just a few of the impressive monuments that make Tikal's architecture unique. The most recognizable building is Temple of Four, popularly known as the Temple of the Double-Headed Serpent, which rises more than 230 feet tall and provides panoramic views over the rainforest. The Great Plaza, surrounded by temples and palaces, functioned as the city's political and ceremonial center. Tikal, like many other Maya towns, had its population and political authority decrease in the 9th century AD. Archaeologists are still debating the causes of Tikal's abandonment, although environmental deterioration, conflict, and political turmoil are all probable contributing factors. By the 10th century AD, Tikal had been mostly abandoned, with its once thriving inhabitants migrating into the surrounding jungle. Before European explorers rediscovered Tikal in the 19th century, it lay hidden beneath the dense jungle for centuries. Archaeological excavations started in the late 19th century and have continued to this day, yielding a wealth of knowledge about Maya society and Tikal's part in it. Tikal was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979 because of its remarkable cultural and historical value. Today, it is one of Guatemala's most famous tourist spots, drawing people from all over the globe who want to see the ancient remains and learn about Maya history and culture. Efforts are underway to preserve and safeguard Tikal and its surroundings. Archaeological research, site monitoring, and efforts to fight deforestation and criminal looting are all examples of conservation methods. By preserving Tikal, officials want to guarantee that future generations may enjoy and learn from this extraordinary historic city. Number 7. The ancient empire built without mortar. Great Zimbabwe is situated in southeastern Zimbabwe near the town of Masvingo. Great Zimbabwe was originally the capital of the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, which lasted from the 11th to the 15th centuries. The kingdom was a component of the greater Bantu culture that occupied the area. Zimbabwe is derived from the Shona term Zimba Dzamabwe, which means large houses of stone. The Great Enclosure, a gigantic stone building erected without mortar, is Great Zimbabwe's most distinctive feature. It is made up of a complicated network of walls, corridors, and towers. The stones used in the building were meticulously cut and placed, exhibiting sophisticated engineering abilities at the time. Great Zimbabwe functioned as the kingdom's political, economic, and religious hub. It served as a trading center, notably for gold, ivory, and copper, connecting southern Africa's interior to the Swahili coast and Indian Ocean trade networks. The presence of items from as far afield as China and Persia demonstrates its significance as a commercial center. Historians and archaeologists continue to argue the causes of Great Zimbabwe's abandonment in the 15th century. Some explanations point to environmental issues like deforestation and soil depletion, while others blame political instability or foreign wars. Whatever the reason, the city was progressively abandoned, and by the 16th century, it was almost desolate. The size and complexity of Great Zimbabwe's ruins astounded European explorers and colonists in the late 19th century. There was a lot of speculation and legend surrounding the site's origins, with some people asserting that the biblical Queen of Sheba or ancient Phoenicians built it. However, archaeological evidence eventually revealed its African roots. Great Zimbabwe symbolizes African inventiveness and cultural heritage. It has a UNESCO World Heritage classification and is regarded as one of sub-Saharan Africa's most significant archaeological sites. The site continues to draw tourists from all over the globe, who come to admire its amazing stone construction and learn about its rich history. Number 6. The Snake God, descending a pyramid. Chichen Itza exemplifies the grandeur and brilliance of the ancient Mayan civilization. This archaeological site, located on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, is well known for its spectacular remains, which include the famous pyramid known as El Castillo. Chichen Itza was one of the greatest and most powerful Mayan towns, peaking between the 9th and 12th centuries AD. Its name, which translates to "at the mouth of the well of the Itza," alludes to its location close to cenotes, natural sinkholes that the Mayans held in high regard. The city was an important political, economic, and religious hub for the Mayans, as well as a pilgrimage destination. Chichen Itza's architectural style combines Mayan and Toltec elements, demonstrating cultural interchange and influence from nearby areas. El Castillo, the central pyramid, is the most recognizable building, measuring around 98 feet tall and incorporating a series of steps leading to a temple at the top. Notably, at the spring and fall equinoxes, the angle of the sunlight casts a shadow that resembles a snake descending the stairs, which is sometimes understood as a symbol of the Mayan deity Kukulkan. Another notable feature of Chichen Itza is the Great Ball Court, which is the biggest and best-preserved ball court in ancient Mesoamerica. This vast playing field is roughly 168 feet long and 70 feet across, and it was utilized for the ceremonial ball game known as Poctapoc. In Mayan civilization, the ball game was religiously and symbolically important, with ceremonial or sacrificial undertones. In addition to El Castillo and the Great Ball Court, Chichen Itza has a number of additional monuments, including the Temple of the Warriors, the Group of the Thousand Columns, the Observatory, El Caracol, and the Sacred Cenote. Each of these buildings fulfilled a distinct religious, governmental, or ceremonial function inside the city. Chichen Itza's population and power declined about the 12th century, most likely as a result of a mix of events, including environmental deterioration, drought, and political instability. When the Spanish arrived on the Yucatan Peninsula in the 16th century, Chichen Itza had been entirely abandoned and overrun by forest. It was found by European explorers in the 19th century and is now one of Mexico's most popular archaeological sites, having been named a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. Number 5. From bustling metropolis to ghost town, the rise and fall of a civilization. Ephesus was a thriving Greek and Roman metropolis in modern-day Turkey, near the town of Selçuk. In antiquity, it thrived as a great port city and a hub of commerce, culture, and spirituality. The city's history dates back to the 10th century BC, when Greek immigrants founded it. However, it peaked during the Roman Empire, when it became the capital of the Roman province of Asia. The Library of Celsus, a great edifice erected in the 2nd century AD to commemorate Roman Senator Tiberius Julius Celsus Ptolemaios, is one of Ephesus's most recognizable landmarks. The library formerly held thousands of manuscripts and functioned as Celsus's colossal mausoleum. Its exterior, embellished with elaborate carvings and sculptures, reflects the city's richness and refinement. Another significant monument is the Temple of Artemis, which is one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. Originally built in the 6th century BC, the temple was dedicated to the Greek goddess Artemis, the city's patroness. Although only ruins exist now, its enormous size and majesty are still visible. Ephesus was also home to the Great Theatre, a massive amphitheatre that could seat up to 25,000 people. It featured a variety of acts, including theatre shows and gladiatorial competitions, making it a hub of entertainment and cultural interchange. The city's streets were lined with remarkable buildings such as temples, baths, and villas, each embellished with intricate mosaics, frescoes, and sculptures. Marble Street, a majestic boulevard covered with marble slabs, united the city's important monuments and functioned as its principal artery. Despite its wealth, Ephesus experienced several problems over the ages, including invasions, earthquakes, and changes in trade routes. By the 7th century AD, the city was in decline, and its port had silted up, resulting in its final abandonment. Today, Ephesus is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of Turkey's most significant archaeological monuments. Visitors may tour the well-preserved remains, admire the ancient architecture, and picture life in this once thriving city. Ephesus represents the ancient Mediterranean world's rich history and cultural legacy. Number 4, 1,500-year-old U.S. city built into the cliffs. Mesa Verde, Spanish for green table, is an old colony in the southwestern United States, notably Colorado. The ancestral Puebloans, also known as the Anasazi, lived there between 550 and 1300 AD. The park was created in 1906 to protect the spectacular cliff houses and other archaeological monuments that lie within its bounds. Mesa Verde is distinguished by its cliff homes, which were constructed into the faces of cliffs and alcoves on the mesa or tabletop. These homes were built with sandstone, wooden beams, and mud mortar. The cliff homes vary in size, from modest one-room buildings to massive multi-story constructions. The Cliff Palace, Balcony House, and Spruce Tree House are among the most well-known cliff homes. These houses shed light on the ancestral Puebloans' sophisticated architecture and everyday lives. Around the late 13th century, the ancestral Puebloans started to depart Mesa Verde and other nearby locations. Archaeologists continue to argue the causes of this huge departure, although drought, resource depletion, and social instability are thought to have played a role. By the end of the 13th century, Mesa Verde had been mostly abandoned, leaving only the quiet remains of a once thriving community. Although the ancestral Puebloans had long departed from the area, Mesa Verde was not forgotten. In the late 19th century, explorers and archaeologists rediscovered the cliff homes, rekindling interest and curiosity about the ancient society that previously lived there. Mesa Verde is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a major tourist site, attracting tourists from all over the globe to see the ancient cliff houses and learn about the ancestral Puebloans' rich history. The site is a testament to the creativity and tenacity of the people who have lived in this harsh environment for generations. Number 3, tunnels, temples, and vineyards. Exploring the wonders of an underground city. Derinkuyu is an old subterranean city in the Cappadocia area of central Turkey. Derinkuyu is one of numerous subterranean cities in the area, alongside Kaymakli and Ozkanak. Cappadocia's ancient people established these towns, particularly during the Byzantine period, to defend themselves from attack and persecution. The actual origins of Derinkuyu are unknown. However, it is thought to have been built between the 8th and 7th centuries BC by the Phrygians, an ancient Anatolian tribe. Later civilizations, particularly the Byzantines, who used it as a refuge during times of strife and persecution, further enlarged and improved it. Derinkuyu is an engineering wonder with numerous layers that go as far as 200 feet below. It is believed that the city could house up to 20,000 people, including cattle and food, making it one of the world's biggest subterranean complexes. The city is made up of a maze of tunnels, halls, rooms, and chambers that have been painstakingly carved into the soft tufa rock. These subterranean chambers had a variety of uses, including dwelling quarters, storage facilities, stables, churches, and even vineyards. Ventilation shafts, wells, and stone doors with locking mechanisms demonstrate a high degree of design and engineering. Derinkuyi's architecture was strategic, with narrow tunnels and low ceilings that slowed attackers' movement while allowing defenders to quickly seal off areas of the city. It also had innovative features like sliding stone doors that could be deployed to block off entrances and escape routes. Derinkuyu was mostly utilized as a haven during times of peril, but it also supported a vibrant underground population during times of calm. Archaeological digs have discovered traces of workshops, kitchens, social rooms, and religious buildings, shedding light on the everyday lives of the ancient people. Today, Derinkuyu is a tribute to previous civilizations' inventiveness and tenacity. It is a famous tourist destination, with tourists able to explore the interesting subterranean corridors and learn about its rich history. Derinkuyu serves as a reminder of the extraordinary accomplishments of the past, as well as the continuing heritage of those who formerly lived there. Number 2, melting pot of 4 cultures to forgotten city. Palmyra, also known as Tadmor in Arabic, was an ancient city in the Syrian desert, northeast of Damascus. It was once a bustling city and an important economic and cultural center on the historic Silk Road, which connected the Roman Empire to Persia, India, and China. The city's strategic position made it a thriving commercial hub, drawing merchants, travelers, and academics from all over the known globe. Palmyra's history dates back at least to the 2nd millennium BC, although it came to prominence during the Roman Empire, notably under the reign of Queen Zenobia in the 3rd century AD. Zenobia staged a rebellion against Roman control, temporarily establishing Palmyra as an independent empire that included portions of Syria, Egypt, and Anatolia. However, in 272 AD, the Roman Emperor Aurelian put down the insurrection, and Palmyra was once again placed under Roman authority. The city's enormous colonnaded avenues, temples, tombs, and amphitheater are examples of its hybrid architecture, which combines Roman, Greek, Persian, and indigenous influences. The Temple of Bel, dedicated to the ancient Mesopotamian deity Bel, is one of Palmyra's most prominent landmarks. Despite its prosperous history, Palmyra eventually lost prominence, owing to changes in trade routes, economic collapse, and political instability. The city had mostly vanished by the 13th century, and the desert sands gradually reclaimed its remains. Palmyra has recently earned worldwide recognition as a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a symbol of Syria's rich cultural legacy. However, the city's destiny changed tragically when the Syrian civil war broke out in 2011. The Islamic State, or ISIS, took control of Palmyra in 2015, causing massive devastation to its ancient riches. ISIS fighters robbed and ruined historic temples, tombs, and relics, leaving the world in shock as millennia of history were erased in acts of cultural vandalism. Despite attempts to restore and rehabilitate the devastated sites, Palmyra is still scarred by the effects of conflict. The ruins serve as a sobering reminder of the fragility of human civilization and the critical need to safeguard our common cultural legacy from the ravages of strife and fanaticism. Number 1. Europe's oldest town still baffles scientists. Skara Brae is an old Neolithic village on Scale Bay in Scotland's Orkney Islands. It dates from roughly 3200 BC, making it one of Europe's oldest and best-preserved ancient towns. A violent storm in 1850 exposed the remnants of many stone houses buried under the sand dunes. Skara Brae is a group of 8 stone buildings connected by enclosed tunnels. The dwellings are round or oval in form and were built using a method known as dry stone masonry, which stacks stones without mortar. Each dwelling had a central fire, a sleeping alcove, and stone-built furniture such as dressers and shelves. A small population of between 50 and 100 people lived in Skara Brae, according to archaeological evidence. They most likely got their food from fishing, farming, and hunting. The site's tools and artifacts, which include stone tools, ceramics, and jewelry made of bone and stone, demonstrate a high degree of artistry Archaeologists continue to argue Skara Brae's function. Some believe it was a permanent community, while others think it was a seasonal or ceremonial location. The intricate stone furnishings and storage facilities inside the dwellings indicate long-term habitation. Skara Brae was abandoned circa 2500 BC for reasons unknown. It is believed that environmental changes or societal causes led to its death. The settlement's remarkable preservation was a result of the sand gradually engulfing it after its abandonment and keeping it hidden for a very long time. William Watt, an archaeologist, discovered and excavated Skara Brae in the 19th century. Subsequent discoveries in the 20th century provided further details about Neolithic life in Scotland. Skara Brae is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a famous tourist site, enabling tourists to go back in time and discover the magnificent ruins of this ancient settlement. These places are a testament to the power of time, the fragility of civilizations, and the enduring mystery of the past. They serve as a reminder that even the greatest empires can crumble and that our own world is constantly changing. These 12 unusual abandoned ancient places are the most amazing we have found so far, and we hope we can keep adding to the list in the future.